Okay, we are back with Chapter 2 of Final Fantasy VII Remake. In the last chapter, Cloud and the team blew up Reactor 1, and we are on our way back to Sector 7 from that reactor. Now, in the original game, this entire chapter basically takes place over, like, a couple of minutes, if that. It's literally a case of Cloud escapes on the train and that's about it. So yeah, this is drastically improved for the remake. Chapter takes about 45-ish minutes altogether, so there's a lot more to it than what it was originally. So after much journeying around the Sector 1 slums, that's not the slums, is it? Sector 1. Cloud eventually ends up getting a headache, and we see Sephiroth for the first time. Obviously, this does not happen at all in the original game. This is completely different from how it originally plays out. But it's very good to see the extra bit of fleshing out that they do, bringing Sephiroth in really early on. Which was kind of cool. The fire effects were pretty decent as well. Fire tends to be something that most games still don't really get very good. Like water physics has been amazing for years, but like fire still tends to be a bit iffy. It's not amazing still, but like it's a lot better than normal fire. But yeah, anyway, the story bit for this is like Sephiroth shows up and we're introduced to the big bad guy for the game quite early on. So after a bit more walking around, Cloud eventually sees the flower girl, Aerith. We don't know she's Aerith yet, if I remember correctly. She just offers us a flower. We see the connection there with Sephiroth. We don't know there's a connection with Sephiroth just yet, but I think this was quite cool to sort of tease that there's a link. If you haven't played the game before, you don't know there's a link. Aerith offers you the flower here as well, which is something that happens in the original game. I'd take a screenshot there, because, like, yeah, I'm still trying to figure out how to do screenshots on the PlayStation. It's not I found out that it is as easy as doing it on the Xbox eventually, but, like, yeah. I was trying to use photo mode, basically. So yeah, we get a bit more story here with Aerith offering him the flower, which happens in the original game. You buy the flower for 5 gil. I believe it is in the original game, whereas, like, yeah, she just gives you the flower. We're also introduced to these mysterious ghost-like beings, which, again, is something new for the remake. We don't find out who the ghosts are until, like, right near the end of the game. But it's something that gets teased here as well, as you saw, like, from the beginning of the cutscene, where she was, like, trying to battle away this thing that she couldn't see. She touches Cloud, I believe, in a minute, on the arm or something like that, or Cloud grabs her arm and he's able to see them. Yeah, there you go. So she's like, oh no, they're here again, whatever. Cloud's like, what's going on? And she touches him, and all of a sudden he can see them, which was quite neat. You're like, who are these Dementor things? This is completely new to the story for Remake, which was really cool. But yeah, as I said, you don't find out who they are until, like, later on. And then, obviously, the Shimmer Shoulders show up because there's a guy waving his sword around and they can't see the ghosts. I don't know who they are. But this then leads into Cloud fighting the Shimmer soldiers in the streets, which leads to a quite cool bit of trivia that I learned not too long ago, thanks to good old TikTok. But basically, whilst you are fighting all these soldiers in the streets, the fight music starts up. The original fight music from OG Final Fantasy that all the fans will know, but it doesn't quite finish off the whole tune. It builds it up and builds it up and builds it up, and then when it gets to the point where it's supposed to give you the more iconic part of the music, it cuts it off and starts the music again. And it'll keep doing this all the way through all of these fights, up until a point where a bit later on, Cloud will jump onto the train. That sort of section of the fights, it will then finish off the actual original soundtrack for the fight, which is really cool. So yeah, Cloud just does a lot of fighting here. There's not really much more to talk about. So yes, as I was saying, for this fight, this is where the actual original fight music starts to play. Actually finishes off the entire soundtrack, I want to say. It's probably not the right musical word, but I'm not musically inclined, so yeah. So yeah, this is the bit where Cloud will then jump onto the train. He attacks this random guy, the train comes in, he jumps off onto the train, and away we go into the night, off to Sector 7. This leads to a quick section where everyone's like, oh, did Cloud make it? We have no idea. And then he knocks on the door, jumps into the train carriage, and is like, hey guys, how you doing? And then there's obviously there's a bit of talking on the train and whatnot, but yeah, the train will then take them to Sector 7. There isn't anything else really that happens, other than Barrett talks to a random dude and he's like, hey, you should look up to Avalanche and stuff. But yeah, that isn't the entirety of Chapter 2. It's not long. Not much happens. We get a bit more character development, but that's about it.